Now let's look at an example that looks much more like what you would do on an actual exam. So let's look at this one here. So here, you land at Copenhagen Airport. We'll use the same sort of dollars and kroners here. This time we'll use US dollars maybe. So let's say, so you land in Copenhagen Airport. That's the airport nearest to me. And you're exchanging 500 US dollars to Danish kroners. By the way, I like this joke, guys. 3 out of 2 people have trouble with fractions. So the bank buys and sells at the following rates. So they tell you that they buy, and this GBP, that's Great Britain pounds. This is US dollars, and this is euros. So they buy at different units, then they sell it. So first of all, how many DKK do you receive? It's really important to take a look at this and see what you're doing here. You start with 500 US, and you want to get Danish kroners. So if you use that little trick that I showed you over here, X what I want. I always just start off with what I'm looking for. So I want X, and what are the units I'm looking for? I want kroners, don't I? So I put in DKK. Then I divide that by the thing that I have. Look back here. What is it that I have? Well, I have in my pocket, so to speak, 500 USD, US dollars. Now I'm going to make a ratio. Remember, the ratio has to be the same unit. So whatever I wanted here and whatever I have here, that's my conversion. So I'm going to have something in DKK on the top, because I put those on the top, over something in US dollars on the bottom. Now, what do I know? Well, this is the important part. We have to look at this and say, well, what's happening here? If I'm receiving this money, if you think about it from the bank's point of view, what are they doing? The bank is technically buying my dollars. That's what they're doing. They're buying my dollars. Okay, so bank technically buys your dollars. So that means then they're going to buy my US dollars in order to give me kroners. So that's why I have to use this number right here. So in this case right here, I have 1 USD. So I'll put the 1 USD here, and the 5.79 kroners, that goes over there. And then I can just use my little trick again. So I go X in DKK. That should equal, let's see, remember we do 5.79. I'm doing all the units. You can be a little bit more sloppy if you like, but I'm just showing you everything. What do? I multiply my 500 US dollars. I multiply both sides by it to get rid of it over here. It comes over here, so that means it becomes 500 here. Don't forget my US dollars cancel out. And I'm left with 5.79 times 500. So again, I just need to go and get my trusty calculator here. Where are you? There you go. And I'll do 5.79 times 500. And I do that, and I get 2895. Fine. So I'll do that there. So 2895 Danish kroners. There we go. This is what I get. That's my X. Now, at the end of your holiday, though, so let's just say, so now you've been to Denmark, you've enjoyed yourself, you've done whatever, you've used your credit card, because people don't really use that much cash anymore, do they? I know in Denmark they really don't. You can pay everything with a card. Or just swipe your card near something and you can pay. So at the end of your holiday, let's just say, so you used up a lot of your cash, you have 300 kroners remaining. And, oops, you go to a bank. I'd better change that, right? So you're going to go to a bank. And you have the same rates as above. So what does that mean? What this means is that you're going to use the same numbers that you just had before. Okay, we're going to use the same things that we just saw. So you go to a bank with the same rates up here, but they charge you a 4% commission. Now, how much US dollars do you receive? Now here you have to think about it a little bit carefully here. Whoa, what have I done here? There we go. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at how you're going to transfer your money. You start off with kroners. Now what's going to happen is the bank is no longer going to be buying your kroners. They're going to sell you these US dollars. Okay, so they're going to sell you a US dollar. See, because you give them kroners, they're going to sell you some US dollars here. So that's what they're going to do. So in this case right here, it doesn't sound super obvious, but this case right here, the bank sells. All right. I maybe didn't explain it very well, but if you think of it from the bank's point of view, they take kroners to give you US dollars. So that's why they sell you dollars. So in this case right here, then, 1 US dollar is 6.25 Danish kroners. So this is the number right here we're going to use. So again, we're going to take our what we actually want. Remember, so it's going to be X, in this case right here, US dollars. We're going to put it over what I have. which in this case right here is 300 DKK. We're going to use a conversion rate. This time US dollars is on the top and DKK is on the bottom. Interesting. Let's use a conversion that we know. We know that 1 US dollar is equal to 6.25. Therefore, if I want to get X by itself, what do? I multiply the 300 over to the right. So I have my 1 US dollar over 6.25 DKK times, remember my 300 DKK comes on top. That's how I do that multiplication. My kroners cancel out, which is good, they're supposed to. I end up with 300 times 1, which is just 300, over 6.25. So let's figure that out. What's 300 over 6.25? 300 divided by 6.25. I end up with 48. So fine, then I say fine then. That means I get 48 US dollars. However, this is before the commission. Don't forget, there's this 4% commission. So now we have to find out. So this is the amount here. So what's the commission? Maybe I'll do it in a different color, just to sort of separate it here. So let's just say we're doing it as a commission here. So the commission is going to be, let's see now, it's going to be 4% of that amount here. I mean, you can do the percent at the beginning or at the end. It doesn't actually, it's not a big deal, but let's just do it at the end here. So what you're supposed to get is 48 US dollars, but they take their cut. So they're going to take 4%. Now, how do you find 4% of a number? You remember you have to multiply by the decimal version of that percent. So in this case, 4% is 0.04. You could technically do it because it's 4 over 100. That's what 4% is, right? 4, and if you know French, pourcent, it literally means over 100. So 4 over 100, that is 0.04. We multiply that by 48. We figure that out. So let's do that on the calculator. This is going to tell me the amount of the commission here. So 0.04 times 48, I could have just said answer, is 1.92. So what does this mean? This is 1.92 US dollars is their commission. So how much do I get then? I get 48 minus 1.92. That I need to do on my calculator. Right, so 48 minus that answer. Remember, you can call up answer by doing this little ants here. So then you get 46.08, and that's the actual amount you're going to get. 46.08 US dollars. That will be the amount of money in your pocket, so to speak, when you're done. So do you see how we've shown an example then? And this is very typical of what shows up on exams, something just like this, where you're converting money. There's also bank buying and selling, and we've also got something with commission. So this is something that looks just like what exams do.